Welcome to our channel. Today, we'll dive into one of the most fascinating yet challenging countries in South America, Argentina. Renowned for its rich culture, breathtaking landscapes, and unique historical heritage, Argentina also has a darker side that often goes unseen. In 2024, the country is grappling with one of the worst economic crises in its history, with record-breaking inflation, extreme poverty, and a population struggling to survive day by day. Get ready for a journey that will uncover shocking truths about Argentina's economic and social turmoil. Let's begin. The history of Argentina is one of remarkable achievements but also profound inequalities. From the era of Spanish colonization, the land was exploited as a source of natural resources, while indigenous populations suffered the loss of their lands and cultural identities. The colonial system introduced an economy reliant on the intensive exploitation of resources and enslaved labor, laying the groundwork for the inequality that persists to this day. With independence in 1816, many hoped for change, but the young nation continued to operate under the influence of foreign powers. By the late 19th century, Argentina had become one of the world's largest exporters of beef and grains. However, this wealth benefited only the elite, leaving much of the population marginalized, without access to land or opportunities. In the early 20th century, Buenos Aires earned the nickname the Paris of South America, thanks to its European architecture and vibrant cultural life. Yet this prosperity was fragile, and crises like the Great Depression exposed the vulnerabilities of an economy heavily dependent on external factors. One of Argentina's darkest periods began in 1976 with the onset of a brutal military dictatorship. Over 7 years, the regime eradicated political opposition and implemented policies that deepened inequality. It is estimated that 30,000 people disappeared during this time, leaving lasting scars on society. Economically, the dictatorship's legacy was disastrous. Neoliberal policies adopted during this era benefited foreign corporations, while the country's external debt skyrocketed, setting the stage for future crises. In the 1990s, under President Carlos Menem, Argentina embraced aggressive neoliberal reforms. Privatization of state-owned companies, partial dollarization of the economy, and trade liberalization were introduced as measures to modernize the nation. While initially promising, these policies widened social inequalities and left the country vulnerable to external shocks. By 2001, Argentina experienced one of the worst financial collapses in its history. Millions were plunged into poverty, and streets filled with protests demanding change. This collapse marked the beginning of a cycle of economic instability that continues to this day. In 2024, poverty in Argentina has reached alarming levels. Official data indicates that approximately 39% of the population lives below the poverty line, with 8% facing extreme poverty. The situation is particularly dire for children and adolescents, with over 50% living in poverty. Inflation, which surpassed 120% in 2023, continues to erode families' purchasing power. Basic goods like food and medicine have become unaffordable for many. Meanwhile, the devaluation of the Argentine peso worsens living conditions. Even in the capital Buenos Aires, about 10% of the population lives in informal housing, lacking adequate access to clean water, sanitation, or electricity. The growing inequality within cities is evident and continues to expand. While the population struggles to survive, Argentina faces intense political polarization. The left advocates for social programs and blames past neoliberal policies for the current problems, while the right accuses the left of corruption and mismanagement. Recently, thousands gathered in Plaza de Mayo to protest government austerity measures, including cuts to energy and transportation subsidies demanded by the International Monetary Fund in exchange for loans. These political struggles threaten the country's stability, complicating efforts to resolve its issues. Despite these challenges, the Argentine government remains hopeful that 2025 will bring economic recovery, focusing on the energy and agricultural sectors. However, many experts warn that without deep structural reforms and effective anti-corruption efforts, recovery will be slow and inequitable. Approximately 40% of workers remain in informal employment, without access to benefits or job security. This perpetuates the cycle of inequality, hindering the country's progress. Argentina's story in 2024 is one of a nation full of potential but trapped in a cycle of crises. As it struggles to find a path toward stability, its people continue to pay the highest price. What do you think about this reality? Share your opinion in the comments, give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode, and thank you for joining us.